Wednesday, the 27th of November. Welcome everyone to the show. This is your Frontier opening bell with me, Bosin Amofaye. Just a quick run through the markets. As always, quite a lot happening across the various markets in Africa. The Zimbabwe stock market, if you start from the bottom of the table, saw the shares of Econet Wireless up yesterday, but the rest of the market were in the negative territory, so drag the big telco shares. I'm going to take that straight to the GSE in South Africa. The 85,000 reading on the Osher index is back. Very strong reading as we saw earnings from some of the biggest retailers. Pepkor Holdings reporting the very robust numbers, including the cash dividend for its full year ended September 2024. So that's also there for the GSE. The Nairobi markets down 0.78%. The shares of Kenya Housing Finance Company was down a massive 50% on Tuesday, with 5.2 million shares of that stock traded on the exchange. Safaricom got the biggest turnover of the day, roughly 11.7 million, as well as Kenya Reinsurance, 5.63 million. Portland shares, MBV, were down on the trading day. That took the NSE Osher index below the 112 level. The Egyptian stock market got its first positive reading for the week, 5 basis points. That's what the EGX state was able to act out on Tuesday. Take it up to the BRVM, where the composite was down about 0.25%. In Nigeria, it was a bit of a very tussle between the declines in MTN, Owando, Nigeria, with some of the gains we saw from Lafarge Africa, roughly 10%, and a few other names outside the industrial goods space on a balancing level, 0.01%, just as the central bank raised interest rates by 25 basis points, a disappointing figure from the expected 50 basis points. But that's what the figure, that's what it is, that's what it is. Let's move on and check through some of the biggest news in East Africa. Coffee prices down. IMF Managing Director, Deputy Managing Director, Niger Clark, is visiting Kenya December 9 and 10. It's a further handshake that the IMF is looking to have with the biggest economy east of the continent, as Kenya looks to the Middle East for a multi-billion dollar funding support. The deputy head of the IMF will be having some key discussions with top government officials in Nairobi over the next 2 weeks. KenGen, that's the Kenyan power generating company, has been appointed to the multi-sectoral technical committee that will draft the carbon market framework for Kenya. In the meantime, Rwanda says it's ideal to help Guinea's public procurement system digitize their processes, while Kenya is hosting a 3-day Africa's Sub-Sovereign Governance Network Summit. That conference enters its second day today in the Kisumu city. President William Ruto, the chief host, was there. He spoke yesterday about what Kenya is doing around getting development and trade and investment around the subnationals or the counties level. The head of the Afrexim Bank, Dr. Benedicto Rama, also spoke about the $2 billion and more that the DFI is putting behind subnationals across Africa, from Nigeria to Ethiopia and elsewhere, to support trade and investment and development at the grassroots level. You can hear more on that if you go online. The conference will be ending tomorrow, the 28th. Keep that in mind. Let's get on to West Africa. Is the Central Bank of Nigeria ready to take its foot off the pedal, the rate hike pedal? That's the sense we got yesterday afternoon at the end of the 2-day monetary policy meeting with the Central Bank Governor Godwin Olayemi Cardoso reading the communique of the Monetary Policy Committee, 25 basis points to 27.5%. We're seeing about 2 years rates hike cycle in Nigeria. Is the Central Bank now ready to decelerate despite sticky inflation, as well as a very sluggish PMI data for the month of October, as well as the GDP numbers for third quarter, which shows, however, some gentle upside to 3.46% as far as the economy is concerned? What else do we have here in West Africa? Mauritius Commercial Bank, the oldest and the largest commercial bank out of the Indian Ocean island off the coast of East Africa, is in Nigeria with a representative office, and appoints a new chief representative officer to head the Nigerian unit. The whole idea was to get Mauritius Commercial Bank to do a whole lot more outside the oil and gas sector. Now they said they want to go into mining and a few other sectors, key sectors within the Nigerian economy. Abiodun Aziz is the new head of the Mauritius Commercial Bank operations in Nigeria. Nigeria's Pepkor refinery has restarted after 4 years of turnaround, gulping billions of dollars. There's still controversies around the government refinery. However, Mr. President, however, says he was enthused with the return to production of the refinery in Port Harcourt, South Nigeria, and says he's looking forward to two of the other the remaining three refineries to come on stream. Ghana has opened a new 100-kilometer Tema Mpakadan rail line. Train is a standard gauge rail that's been put now into use. In the meantime, Liberia is allocating about $98 million for critical development, all that coming from the new administration in Monrovia. I'm taking that to Southern Africa, and let's get a couple of the Angola just in the news saying there's no negotiations on the table of a possible new IMF loan program with the country. Well, one of the biggest news from the Southern African region is the nervousness around the elections today in Namibia, where the ruling parties, the SWAPO, which is the Southwest Africa's political organization, has been in power for more than 30 years. There's issue of corruption. Namibia is looking to do a whole lot more in the hydrocarbon and hydrogen business, energy industry. Investors are also piling into Namibia. What will happen is yet to be known when the elections come to an end and we see who emerges as the new leader in Namibia. I mentioned Pepkor earlier, full year financial year ended September, 13.5% jump in gross profit. That's on the GSC. The share price climbed yesterday on the back of that news. Cash dividend of 48.5 cents goes to each of the shareholders. Zimbabwe reporting monthly inflation down for the first time in 4 months, just as the head of the EFDB, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, says he wants a debt deal with Zimbabwe before he leaves office next year. What else is there in that region? Botswana, aluminum prices are surging because Rusal, the Russian aluminum giant, says he's going to do less production because of supply of alumina products, raw material into that particular facility. So aluminum prices were seen about 1.7% to the upside late Tuesday. Let's wrap it up in North Africa with the Poland's Hemfra looking to invest about $10.6 billion in Egypt's green ammonia project. In the meantime, President El-Sisi has sat down with the central bank governor and the Minister of Finance to get further details about the state of the economy of the biggest economy in North Africa. That's at the end of the IMF visit to Cairo. The consumer finance company Suhula says it's completed 478 million Egyptian pounds, roughly $15.7 million securitized bonds of 3 tranches, which are floated by the company on the Egyptian market. In Sudan, the Minister of Agri says there's no farming in the country, and he spoke in using data extensively to dispel media news reports that the country is undergoing a food sustainability problem. An Egyptian insurtech broker company, Amenly, gets about $2.3 million US funding from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, that's the EBRD, as well as Y Combinato, to support its operations on the ground in Egypt. And those are the headlines for you, everyone, as we get the day started off here at Frontier Africa Reports. Do have a great day, everyone. And let's get back together next time for your Frontier Opening Bell.